afternoon. It's Shirley with Spirit of Matter. And this is another episode in the Essential Oil series, which I find to be quite relevant for the spirit of the times. So, this one is Yarrow. And I will tell you the story of that I had with Yarrow today. So I was basically going over my essential oil list and kind of refreshing my stash. And I looked at the holistic meaning of the oils. One of the things Yarrow mentioned was it's good for the people that are like the social activists, those who are kind of like at the frontier of a battle or something like this. And I said, oh, and it's good to show a person that life is not a struggle. Okay, so it's a very balanced oil. It has all of the components of the groups of chemicals of essential oils, whether it's monoterpenes, sesquiterpenes, esters, all the kind of like the alcohols, ketones, and that what it means basically is that this one is a heal all essential oil. It really does have like everything in it, but it's also very balanced. So when we talk about notes, when we prepare kind of like a blend, it's going to have the base notes, which is the sesquiterpenes, the middle notes like the monoterpenes, and the upper notes like the ketones, or maybe you count esters as like high top notes. I think they're more like middle. So that is a very balancing oil that can be the core of certain blends. It has a very distinct color, that the blue, which is a chamazolan, and we also have it in blue chamomile. It's very anti-inflammatory, and right now the world needs anti-inflammation essential oils and oils that tend to the nervous system. I might do another episode about valerian when I'll get the oil of it. And so I realized that I'm gonna need this oil. I'm gonna need this oil. I kinda am, my ascendant ruler is in the 11th house of agendas, of public affairs, and I feel like, oh, there's more to life than the experience of struggle. And I jokingly called it the anti-Hitler oil, or so, because if life is not a struggle, then this is not a Mein Kampf, okay? Which basically means my struggle. That's the book that Hitler wrote. And I was like, okay, this is the anti-Hitler. And lo and behold, I'm before my moon day, so this is when we all get a little bit of Hitler. And so I said, this is going to be my anti-Hitler oil, and I went off to buy it. And of course, it's Venus. You can watch my previous episode about Venus opposition in Uranus. And I told you, you better not try to save money. And I can definitely say I have no regrets for what I bought. But I was very correct and very predictive. Okay? And so I bought a couple of essential oils. One of them was another manuka. Yes, I have used up all the manuka in creams and such. Another orange, and another, what was the fourth one? Yarrow, orange. Oh, cedarwood. Cedarwood deserves an episode, like totally. And I bought 4 rolls, kind of like the rolls, the oil rolls. And right as I exited the shop, okay, I put on a bag, on a plate, just put on a bag, just clean bag that I got the oils with, put the 4 rolls, and I did what I call a fuga. And the fuga goes like this. I get one essential oil that is the base for all the fuga, okay? Not base note as in blends, but the base for the fuga, which is composition, okay, musical composition. And then from, let's say there are 4 bottles, then I put yarrow in all of them. Then in 3 I put manuka, then in 2 I put cedarwood, and in 1 I put also the sweet orange. And that was the fuga. Then I went to the train because I was like, I'm not going to have any more expenses, because that was expensive. And I blended it with jojoba oil. So none of that is astrologically like based. This was not an astrological magic. It's not. This is just essential oils, okay? And it's not even classic aromatherapy. It's something else that I do that's creative. So um, I just go on the train and I sniff my oils and I do crazy stuff, and I hear a conversation, and this conversation was between combat soldier, female combat soldier, and a young man that tries to recruit to the army and become a combat person. And so, for the sake of privacy, I will not go into the detail of the conversation. But one sentence caught my mind, which she said to him, "You must fight for it if you want to be a fighter. You will get it." And she said, to be a fighter, it means that your life matters less than the lives of other people. Okay, and I found it funny because I just came to buy an essential oil, and I was working with the base note of yarrow, only yarrow. And I was like, I just came to buy an oil that tells me that life is not a struggle. And there I meet a female combat soldier that basically lives by that her life is less important than the lives of other people. So the intuition was to just take that yarrow, take that bottle and just give it to her, which was making her more happy than I expected. Okay, and only then I realized that very much the frequency of being at the frontier can bring a person to a situation where they might experience all of life as a battle. Okay, and the yarrow gives like a balancing. Like life is whole. It's not just battle. It's not, a struggle. And I was like, oh my God, it's just like crystals. It's just like crystal. Like she needed that. She was very happy. I was a bit afraid because yarrow has a distinct smell, and it's kind of like you give a gift to something that's smelly. You don't know if you're gonna like it, but she's just seemed genuinely happy to receive it. And so I was left with the 3 bottles. So that's yarrow. This is my yarrow story, okay? You're not going to find it in a textbook. You're not going to find people talking about this, because this is a way to work with essential oils that is different to aromatherapy, which is therapeutic, or astrological magic, okay, or even witchcraft, okay, like the good witchcraft, okay, magic, and that is kind of reminded me of crystals, because that creation wanted to be somewhere, and I had the synchronicity of meeting the person that needs that, or that needs that, not in the sense you couldn't live without it. It's kind of like that's a fitting match. So there's my yarrow story. Now, as for what yarrow does, okay, like I said, it's a heal all. It's going to be good for your nervous system. It's good for back pains. It's good to bring people into balance. Okay, to bring people into balance. to get clarity of the mind. It has anti-inflammatory qualities and very centering qualities. I can say that it does have ketones in it too. What ketones do, their work is to basically, if you have like a clutter, so decluttering. Okay, so do decluttering. As you're doing decluttering, you know what happens? You spread things, and so they become diluted. And that means you're going to be purging stuff. So there are ketones in it. It is great to work with like traumas and stuff like that. But you must be aware that you're going to be very cautious, very tender, and make sure that you're surrounded like with something that helps you, other than the essential oil itself, because we don't know what's going to come up. But if you're like in battle situation, having ketones can perhaps even assist in reducing the chances of developing like real major trauma, because you are releasing what you can release right now, so less things get cluttered and congested. It doesn't mean it's going to avoid PTSD or CPTSD. This is like we still need to do stuff like on an actual real plane, to make changes in the world as a collective and as individuals. So very, very, very basic plant medicine to have, and very, very important essential oil to have, because it really does. If you like, I cannot buy a lot of essential oils, and Yarrow is quite expensive. It is as expensive as cistus or rose, or even jasmine. Okay, so it's that level of expensive, and you work with it, cautiously. Now, I do recommend to source your essential oils from non-MLM stuff like businesses. I also recommend to get your education about it from non-MLM places. You don't have to have a certification. Certification is nothing. I have made 2 certifications, and still when I go back to doing a fuga, when I go back to use my oils, I go back to the basic, I go back to my books. It doesn't matter that I have certification. What matters is, do you have the knowledge and do you apply the knowledge? Okay, those are the things that matter. You don't blend it in anything that is not oil based or alcohol based. Okay, and so you don't blend it with anything that is oil based or alcohol based. I'm sorry, you blend it only with oil and alcohol. And for dilution, you're gonna have to know, usually for body oil, it's like 5%. If you want something more concentrated, then that you're gonna need to work with someone who knows what they're doing. If you have like facial stuff, then we usually go for 0.5%. And for again, the shocking term internal use, 1%. That means a drop of oil in a spoonful. Okay, a spoonful of vegetable oil, not a spoonful of essential oil. You will die. So, and this is why many there's the French standard, I think, that cannot. I don't know if I think the British cannot have internal consumption, because one person was prescribed to have 1 drop in 1 spoonful of vegetable oil, and he took, of course, 1 spoonful of essential oil. He's no longer with us, and so is internal consumption for the UK. So we don't want to if you are an aromatherapist, then it's important to blend the essential oil. If you are prescribing internal consumption, to blend the essential oil already with the carrier oil. Don't put people at risk, okay? They're not stupid. They're doing other things, and we need to be user friendly. And our products need to be as much as we can user friendly. But if you are blending for yourself, just remember, okay, this is the difference between life and death. So even though it's natural, yes, natural, all things are made eventually out of natural components that go through certain processing. Um, so those are the things that I kind of have to say about this. For kind of like a diffuser, that would be 100% essential oil, and you can put a couple of drops in the diffuser. That's great. You don't want to do it next to kids though, okay, because of the ketones. I kind of like wouldn't want that. I prefer blue chamomile, but in general we don't put diffusers with oils next to infants, okay? If you're pregnant, then kind of like same thing. There are oils that you can smell if you want to bring delivery, like orange is wonderful for the deep breath during the contractions and before the contractions, kind of bring a baby in. So that's something that I kind of got like good experience with when I was fortunate enough to deliver an essential oil blend to a pregnant woman. But other than that, like I know that everybody will do their own thing, and it's not me cautioning you against like listening to your body, but it is, since I don't know you, I don't want to say stuff that would make people do stuff that is not constructive to them. So I'm being like extra cautious when I talk about that. And of course, there are certain oils that you need to know. Okay, there are certain oils that you don't take with blood diluters like medicine, and certain oils you don't take with diabetes pills. If you're going through like chemotherapy, then you know the oils that you use, they basically clear the body and clean the body. So you get the point, right? So I'm basically talking about work that is safe. That's not here to replace an ongoing conventional procedure, because to do that, you would need to do certain changes in your life. For example, when I switched from the conventional to the non-conventional, I went through 6 months in between houses, channeling full time for 6 months. Like that was not the Tom, Dick, and Harry process of going through holistic medicine. I just want you to know that, okay? And that is also not the point of like this episode. But you don't have to actually consume yarrow to call in the plant intelligence of yarrow. So you don't have the oil, just like a crystal, you can call in the intelligence of yarrow. If it's meant for you to have the oil or a product with the oil, then you will probably find your way into it. I can say when I was in between houses, okay, vetiver is another quite expensive essential oil that I didn't have, and I was in between houses. I was in a hostel in Netherlands, I know, that was turned into a shelter, and I was staying in the bathroom because we were supposed to like get out in the freezing cold, and I didn't want to do it, and so I stayed in the bathroom for like a couple of hours. Lo and behold, next to me, suddenly there was a woman that came with a dog, and we began a conversation, and she had vetiver oil, and she just gave me a drop of vetiver oil. All of a sudden, I just sniffed vetiver oil, and it found its way to me, okay? And lo and behold, when So I asked for like essential oils because I knew that it would help me. So the lady that helped me had mint. She had, I don't know if she had orange, I think she had mint. She had ylang ylang, which is good for like anti-traumatic. Okay, it's not just like passion and romance, it was basically anti-traumatic as well. And she had frankincense. Frankincense is the oil of the father, and I was at my fatherland. Okay. By the way, when I moved to Israel, I had a sequence with the name myrrh, and that's where I also improved connection with my mother and my motherland. So I'm half Dutch, half Israeli. So you see that there is something here that is synchronistic, that's beyond like a prescribed medication that you give a person. You write everything in Latin where one word means exactly one thing. This is not the world of essential oils. So, anything more about yarrow that I want to say right now? The Okay, the botanical name is Achillea millefolium. Yes, there's so many types. It is native to Asia, Europe, North America, and it's been introduced as a feed for livestock in New Zealand and Australia. That's nice. So it doesn't grow in Israel. And that is, I guess, why it's expensive here, or maybe another reason to do with the production. So, yes, that's more what oil does. You can get to know like more. Okay, more of the uses. So it's astringent, a mild laxative. If you use its leaves, Navajo historically considered it a life medicine and chewed the plant for toothaches. And used its infusions for earaches. Oh, that is interesting. Okay. So again, as for the more spiritual or magical, this is where you want to remember that life is not just a struggle. And if you're creating something, or you're creating, let's say, magic with yarrow, and you carry it with you and you want to give it to people, then you will see that it will attract the people who might be more of like activists or the frontier people, or people who have, or who need to have like the balance of give and take in life. And that's where, that's where you're going to see yarrow coming up. We're going to see these people coming up, and these situations coming up. So yarrow is important to remind us the balance, okay, not to over sacrifice, but also to remember to give and not just take. And it's going to do it in a really nice way. So that's my experience. If you have stories with yarrow, I'd really like to know more about them. You can post it in the comments, or you can post a video reaction. And yeah, oh, and you can see that the yarrow will turn the cap blue. Okay, it doesn't mean anything bad, it's just like it just turns the cap blue because of the chamazolen. You can replace the cap every once in a while, or if you're like me and you make like creams and salves and stuff like that, then you probably use it way before you'll need to replace the cap. So that's it for today.